This podcast is part of the Michigan Sports and Entertainment Podcast Network. Go to michigansportsandentertainment.com for more great podcasts.
Hello and welcome back to How'll I Die, starring Nicholas Howe. It's me, Nicholas Howe. Today we're going to be talking about two different deaths because I'm alone. So let's go ahead and get the Nicholases out of the way. For this episode, since it's going to be technically two shorter episodes put together, we're going to be using not Nicholases, but Nick. For the first part, we're just going to be using Head Bump Nick. For the second part, we're going to be using Flushing Nick. Today's episode features two stories about toilets, but it doesn't feature any of that dirty potty humor. So let's go ahead and set some statistics for these two Nicks. The first Nick is just 24-year-old regular Joe student Nicholas. The same as I am now, except it's a different branching of the multiverse, in a different timeline and a different life. Second Nick, however, is a bit more well off than I am. The second Nick happens to be a bit richer. The reason that is because he's got the highest tech available to him. He can upgrade his home however he wants. So let's jump into the first one, shall we? This first story starts in the bathroom, obviously, but Nicholas isn't going to the restroom because that's gross. Instead, it starts with him going into the shower. Now, ladies, I know what you're thinking. This episode we get to see Nick naked? Technically, yes. I'm naked for most of this episode. You don't get to see it because this is an audio digital format, not a video digital format. So sorry for you. So Nicholas takes his shower, a nice warm shower where he thinks about music and television and a bunch of other things that he would think about in the shower, I guess. Also, as a side note, Nicholas takes showers that last for like 45 minutes. Not quite sure what he does with that time, but every single shower seems to take about 45 minutes. So I'll let him live, I guess, for now. So Nicholas hops out of the shower and he walks into the regular bathroom space. It's just right in front of the cabinet area in the bathroom. And he's like brushing his hair because you know you have to brush your hair as soon as you get out of the bathroom. Just a quick teeth brush. As a side note, if you brush your teeth while you're in the shower, you're nasty because you're getting a lot of follicles everywhere, all up on your toothbrush. When you take a shower, you brush your teeth in the shower, and you put your toothbrush in the shower, I guess. I don't know where you're keeping your toothbrush when you're taking a shower. You're going to get shampoo on it because you know shampoo is uncontrollable. Anyways, back to the main story. Nicholas is getting out of the shower. He walks over to the cabinets. The floor in his bathroom is this linoleum-ish. It's not hardwood, but it has like the look of hardwood. But it's very literally not hardwood. It's that plastic version of hardwood. And he is just kind of like dancing around. He's got some music playing. He's listening to some Carly Rae Jepsen. Just having a blast. As he's up and dancing about and just having a good old time, at some point his foot just kind of slips. He falls pretty hard. As he's falling, he kind of forgets to throw his arms out, and his head hits the side of the toilet bowl as he goes down. And his head is just kind of open now. So there he is, a 24-year-old boy, naked. Well, he's got a towel on, obviously, but naked in a puddle of water that slowly mixes with his own blood from his head as he dies fairly quickly in a not fun way. And that's it for that Nick. So sad, so sad. Flushing Nick lived a bit of a better life than I did, just based on the fact that he had a good amount of cash always. It wasn't because he worked, no, it was because other people around him worked, and he reaped those sweet green cashy benefits. You see, Nicholas, in this situation, he loved the finer things in life. And one of the best things that really got him through every day is updating his furniture around his house, and his appliances, and his utilities. In his kitchen, he had one of those smart televisions where you could text from it. There's no reason for it, but he had one. And in his bathroom, he had a new technology, an air pressure based flushing system. Now I know what you're thinking. Wow, that's actually a pretty cool idea. And it is. You're absolutely correct. But turns out, not the best idea on the block, I guess. So Nicholas, after a day of good times playing some basketball with his old college pals, his old college chums, comes home. He's feeling a little not too good in the tum-tum, and he decides to go to the bathroom. He has many bathrooms in this house, and this one in particular is his favorite. But he hasn't been home for a few weeks because he was out at Coachella. He was traveling for a little bit. Now he's back. He's chilling. He's at home. He's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. So he goes upstairs and he goes into his bedroom and he goes into his bathroom in his bedroom. And this toilet is making a weird sound. He goes to flush the toilet because when your toilet makes a weird sound, you flush it. That's just what you do. As he pushes down on the flusher, the entire back of the toilet, all that porcelain, explodes. Almost like a bomb went off. You see that air pressure system inside the tank that exploded everywhere. Nicholas was a little scared, obviously, but he didn't feel any different. So he was like, haha, I escaped this explosion. And then he stood in front of the mirror for all of 2 seconds when he saw that his face and chest and throat were all bleeding as the porcelain was just in him at this point. As he saw the blood kind of stream out, he fell back and fainted. Now, this Nicholas, kind of a shitty dude. That's what happens with money, I suppose. He became shitty because nobody checked on him. And he died alone, bleeding out in his bathroom because nobody came to check in on him. I mean, it's mainly because the thing exploded, but also because he just bled out thanks to the porcelain that's all up in his face and his throat and his chest. Everywhere. But fear not, because Nicholas had a dog, and he had a will because his parents made him write a will when he was young, and all of his money went to that dog. So now, in that world where he lived, there is a rich dog living life in luxury. Well, that's going to about do it for the stories this episode. We're going to jump on over into the middle section. Hello and welcome to the middle section. It's me, Nicholas, your best friend, your lover, your true sweetheart. I don't know what I'm saying. So, I have 2 big announcements for you guys. The first one, the most important one, we will be switching to a 1 episode per week posting schedule. Is it publishing or posting? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But we are going to be doing 1 episode per week. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Nicholas, you're already on 1 episode every 2 weeks, and you messed that up really badly. It's been 3 weeks since your last episode. I know. Trust me, I know. But college life is not made for extracurriculars such as recording episodes of podcasts. Fun fact. So, I'm going to be making that up to you. Yesterday, I was recording in very large chunks a special set of episodes for you guys. So if you know me, or if you even look at my personal Twitter, you know I'm about 2 things. Comic books and Dungeons and Dragons. That's right, How Will I Die podcast is going to be doing a few episodes of the How Will I Die Dungeons and Dragons special. What that means is several guests from previous episodes are going to be coming by and playing some Dungeons and Dragons. Each of them will have pre-generated characters made by myself, and each character is going to be a different multiversal Nicholas Howe from the Dungeons and Dragons universes. There's a lot more than you would think because I'm not a legal writer for them yet, or at all. By the way, if you work for Wizards and you love my stuff, I just applied for several jobs there. Go ahead and talk me up, please. Anyways, back to this whole thing that I'm doing. So yes, we're doing 1 episode per week, and several of those episodes coming on up are going to be Dungeons and Dragons based. The entire premise is that the characters will die, hopefully. And so far, that's been pretty accurate. At least 1 death per episode is what we are gonna go for. Additionally, I will be launching a Patreon, so if you guys would like to support the show, and you want to do it financially, awesome. If you want to support us just by retweeting whenever we tweet out our updates, that's perfect 2. So I'm going to do a quick shout out to the person who gave me the idea for this week's episode, and that's my good friend Carrie from college. Hey, Carrie from college, what's up? I don't know your Twitter, so I can't plug it. So Carrie the other day while we were talking was like, you should do one where you died with a toilet. And I was like, okay. And then I didn't record that day like I said I was going to. So instead I'm doing this a week and a half later. And crime. I'm doing crime now. This is what I do. I lie to people to their face in real life and then do whatever they ask me to do a few weeks later. Awesome. In addition to being a once a week podcast, I have to resolve an issue that I made for myself. So this episode, instead of giving you 2 recommendations verbally, I'm going to be playing 2 recommendations from the MSE Network. What's that, you might ask? It's the Michigan Sports and Entertainment Podcast Network, where there are tons of great shows, like Super Media Bros, Massive Late Fee, Faves of Our Lives, and many, many more. So first, here's a promo from Skeptical Skeptics Podcast.
Hi, everybody. I'm RJ Metzger.
And I'm Rachel Metzger.
And we're the Skeptical Skeptics.
Each week we talk about all the crazy things in the world, ranging from the paranormal to Bigfoot to UFOs.
And we look at it from the perspective of the believer, the skeptic, and everything in between.
So come check us out on the MSC Podcast Network.
Or go to skepticalskeptics.com and follow us at SkepSkepPod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Awesome. Thanks, SkepSkepPod. I love your show. Now let's go ahead and check out this promo from the guys over at Boar Meets World.
I'm Kyle.
This is Steven.
Together we host a show called
Boar Meets World.
Tell them what we cover on Boar Meets World.
Boy Meets World.
But that's not all, is it?
No.
No, we cover life experiences. Ours. Oh, son of a. Alright, just check out the show, please. We really need it. Okay? We need a win. Just check us out. We talk about the show Boy Meets World. Each episode of our show, we run parallel with an episode of Boy Meets World where we will examine the show.
That's way too much.
What happens, our life, how it relates to it, experiences.
I can't believe you're still recording.
I am recording this. Check it out, guys. You'll get some hilarious stories from me and Steven from our childhood. You'll get a great... I lost it.
Yeah, you did, bud. I love those guys. So we're going to jump right back over into the main show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for keeping up to date with the show. And thank you so much for everyone who reached out, who was checking in on me when we had a week delay. I know that it's a little bit of a bittersweet thing, but life and such. Also, by the way, I'm graduating college in 3 weeks. There will be an episode where I talk about that. But we'll go back to the main part of the episode. I'll see you there. Head Bump Nick and Flushing Nick both have a lot of things in common. Obviously, they're both Nicks, but their stories are based in some pretty weird, kind of cool facts, I guess. So the first story, the live action, or real life, I guess, event that spurned that idea was actually not something that happened to me, but happened to a close friend of mine. They were getting out of the shower and fell and smashed their head onto the floor, and they weren't able to call for help because they had not turned on their Siri on their phone, and they left it in the other room, so they did yell Siri for a good amount of time until they passed out. Luckily, everything was fine. All they did was walk away with a bump on their head. It's interesting the way that life can happen, and the fact that if you don't turn on your Siri, you could die sometimes. Or you're like, okay, Google, or whatever apps you have. I don't know what they're all called, but life. The second one is a bit more recent in the news, and that's because in 2014, there was a company that had a pressure-assisted flushing system, which used compressed air to force waste down the drain. And what was happening was the pressure was building up so much in the air tank that it would just straight up explode. Now, nobody was... there are no reported deaths from the exploding toilets, but a lot of people got hurt from them. So it's kind of a life lesson, I guess. It's something that we can all learn from in the end. Now on to the ratings. For Head Bump Nicholas, I'm going to give this rating Probably a 7 out of 10. It's incredibly likely that I would smash my head on a toilet because I love to dance. And I very much love to take 45-minute showers and dance around wet and naked. Because if you're not dancing around wet and naked, what kind of life are you living? Am I right? As far as Flushing Nicholas, I'm going to rate that one a 3 out of 10. Now the reason I give it even a higher lower number, that's a weird statement. The reason I gave it a 3 is because it's incredibly possible that if I had the money, I would get an air pressure tank. Even though I now know that those things explode really badly, I'd still probably get one. However, I don't think that I would be as much of an asshole as I guess Flushing Nick truly was. Because people would check on me, I suppose. Flushing Nick, 3 out of 10. Head Bump Nick, 7 out of 10. And now, welcome to the Spam Slam. Let's go ahead and get started with this letter sent to us by my very, very good friend, Mr. Barky Dia. Dear friend, peace be upon you. Why, thank you. How are you? Now, let me just iterate something that you can't see, listener. And it's that every word in this email is capitalized. Every single word, except for 4. I will let you know when we get to a word that is not capitalized. Okay? Awesome. Here we go. How are you? I know that this mail may come to you almost a surprise, as we never met before. I got your contact email address from the internet directory and decided to contact you for this transaction that is based on trust and your understanding. Now, I don't have my personal email on the internet directory, so he might be thinking I'm someone else. I'm not sure though. Please, before you proceed reading this mail under not capitalized, no, back to capitalized, that this is true and not an joke. The real reason why I not capitalized send capitalized you this briefly message to you is because of parentheses 2.7 MUSD, 2,700,000 US dollars. End parenthesis. Upon your reply and interest to receive this fund on my behalf, I will kindly send you more details on the execution of this transaction will commence. If you accept this offer to work with me, and you find this proposal suitable for you to do furnish with me the following information: your full names, your country, and your private telephone number, so that the processing and the necessary paperwork that would facilitate the release of funds into your bank account, so that they can do what? I don't know, but just words. I will appreciate it very much. If this proposal is acceptable by you, do not make undue advantage of the trust I have bestowed on you, and I assure you we can achieve it successfully. Then we share it for 60% for me and 40% for you, an is deal between me and you. Make sure you reply to my lowercase private lowercase email, and then there's a Gmail attached. Respectfully, Mr. Dia. Well, Mr. Dia, can I call you Barky? I would love 2.7 million, and even just 40% of 2.7 million would get me through a lot of jams. However, I don't feel like you're actually speaking to me because we're not good friends, and I'm so sorry for that. Just to answer your one question that you have in here, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. College is kind of kicking my butt, but you know, life happens sometimes. And I fully appreciate that this whole transaction is based on trust and my outstanding, but I'm just not able to help you with this. I'm so sorry. However, if you want to reach out and just send that money, I'll have my Patreon set up soon. So if you just want to deposit that into the Patreon, we can talk from there. Thank you and have a great day, sir. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of How Will I Die? We've had 2 deaths, which is very fun every time that we do it, and plenty of news to get you through the next few weeks, even though next week we'll be back with another episode. Wow! Crazy, am I right, teens? Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode, and we will see you in the next one. Remember, don't worry about the inevitable. Focus on the possibilities.